Lucille Papendick came from South City, very modest means, had no family, and she decided to leave her assets to a fund at the St. Louis Community Foundation. In the early 1990s, Lucille's fund was worth $340,000. Since that time, the Community Foundation staff has been making those decisions for her in her legacy. Today, her fund is worth over $450,000, and she's actually given away more dollars than she originally put in. I always say Einstein's eighth wonder of the world is compound interest. We use it for our retirement, but are we using it for philanthropy?
The importance of legacy gifts to our region is that there are systemic problems that we face that unless we have the resources to address them in a real and meaningful way, they're never going to get better.
2013, 2014 is when Normandy lost our accreditation in January, and then the threat of us losing everything came pretty much a reality that the school was probably going to close down. And Beyond Housing, great organization, and Chris Krameyer, an amazing man, had a radio show called Going Beyond, and he wanted to get a teacher's perspective of what was going on at the high school level. And in the midst of that, I mentioned that before school started, that August, we got a big formal letter that said, World Strides Carnegie Hall Festival 2014, you're invited. Out of 60 choirs, 4 choirs were chosen around the country, and Normandy was one of the choirs chosen. In the midst of dealing with the fact that they may not have a prom, they may not graduate across the stage of the school, he's like, wait a minute, back up. Did you say Carnegie Hall? How has the fundraising been? How much does it cost? And I start mentioning these numbers. We raised a little money, but to send 16 kids to New York was not a cheap, easy venture. He was like, and that was it.
So there was a number of different calls we made, but quite frankly, one of the first ones I made was to the Community Foundation and say, hey, look, kids got this great opportunity. Do you have any access to any funds that would work for sending kids to Carnegie Hall? To their credit, they literally got back with me in about 24 hours.
We have a host of funds here at the Community Foundation that are endowed funds and legacy field of interest funds. One example is the Lucille Papendick Fund. She wanted it to go to a field of interest, that field being children in the arts and education.
The St. Louis Community Foundation actually started the whole giving campaign. They actually set the bar for the rest of the giving, and it was a pretty high bar because in a week's time, everything was paid for.
We want to tell the kids, you have value, this community cares about you, and we're going to make this once-in-a-lifetime trip happen for you.
The beauty in what came out of this situation is that it wasn't about color. It wasn't really about economics. It was about the level at which they were singing being matched by the financial support. The organization reached out to them because they knew that they were worthy. That moment being on the Carnegie Hall stage, completely life-altering. It raised their level of expectation. They were able to start thinking higher. So the fact that someone has created this legacy, these kids had a chance to dream about something and it actually came true. So it kind of created a blueprint for their own lives. Every single one of them, my Carnegie Hall kids are in their 3rd or 4th year in college. It's set a precedence for my kids who are at the school now. The St. Louis Community Foundation removed the barrier. And I can't stress to you how important that was at that particular time. To have that bright light shining at the end of their tunnel made all the difference.
Investing in and with the Community Foundation is just a great way to make St. Louis a better place.